3 days before my engagement to my fiancé, I was kidnapped, brutalized, and tortured by thugs. After a lucky escape, I discovered that Oakwood City was buzzing with gossip about my supposedly wild behavior. My eldest brother, Robert Evans, claiming my reputation was tarnished, immediately arranged for Jessica Adams, our illegitimate half-sister who had been living elsewhere, to take my place in the engagement. My second brother, David Evans, stole the songs I had just finished writing and instructed his entertainment company to release and promote all my work under Jessica Adams's name. He even used AI to swap my face onto photos and videos of Jessica Adams from her time working at the Phoenix Club. Heartbroken, I sought help from my father, Richard Evans. Instead, I overheard him on the rooftop giving orders to his subordinates: find Sarah and take her straight to the hospital to remove her cornea. Director Yang's daughter has been blind for years. Only if I give her a pair of healthy corneas will he agree to make Jessica Adams the leading actress in his new movie. As for Sarah, it doesn't matter if she never marries. Her 2 brothers and I will still provide for her, keep her fed and comfortable. Once everything was settled, my brothers finally remembered to transfer $1 million each into my account as compensation. And I spent 3 days removed myself from their family records. Then, I signed the cornea donation consent form and married my brother's rivals. The daughter of the Evans family died the day she was kidnapped by thugs. Later, they climbed the steep trail up Blackwood Mountain, their knees scraped raw, bloodied and bruised, yet they couldn't earn my forgiveness. After signing the cornea transplant consent form, Ethan Evans stroked Buddy, the large yellow dog at his feet. Ms. Lee, you still have a chance to back out. I shook my head bitterly, gripping his hand firmly. Mr. Evans, this is my contribution to our arrangement. I hope you'd keep your promise and marry me with full honors. 3 days from now, once I've collected and signed all the documents, please be there on time to pick me up. I recognized the eagle tattoo on the kidnapper's waist. It was Robert Evans's closest friend. He was currently detailing my disappearance to Robert. Hearing a knock at the door, he hastily hid behind the wardrobe. I walked in with my lawyer, meeting Robert Evans's scrutinizing, suspicious gaze. You even brought a lawyer? What? Are you planning to sue me for hiring someone to assault you? Li Qianma, anything you like, I'll take it all away. Even with a lawyer present, Robert showed me no mercy. The hatred and coldness in his eyes stung me deeply. 5 years ago, Robert's girlfriend, Sophia, was assaulted and attacked, then brutally pushed from the 4th floor of her apartment. The scene was meticulously cleaned by the perpetrator. Only Jessica Adams was found unconscious in the bedroom, her clothes disheveled, looking as though she had put up a fierce fight against the attackers. When she woke up, her account was vague, constantly pointing the finger at me. Although the police investigation cleared me of murder, Robert never forgave me. Instead, he grew increasingly fond of Jessica Adams, treating her as more important than his own full sibling. His unspoken grief for Sophia manifested entirely as ruthless tactics directed at me. Anything that caused me unhappiness, he gladly and mercilessly destroyed, then turned around and gave to Jessica Adams to spite me. The lingering, sore ache from the abuse and violation still clung to my lower abdomen. My eyes fixed on him, unable to utter another word of apology. Robert, I have a document here. If you sign it completely, I will issue a public statement admitting that it was my fault Sophia became a vegetative state 5 years ago. At that point, whether I go to prison, get scorned and insulted by friends and family in Oakwood City, or you even send your friends to assault me again, I won't have a single word of complaint. At my declaration, he finally deigned to give me a look as cold as the dead of winter, every inch filled with contempt and indifference, as if he were slowly executing me. He curved his lips, a sneer on his face. What does it matter? You've already been used up and ruined by some wild man. Do I need to remind you? With a flick of his finger, the projection screen behind him showed a chaotic image of me in the abandoned factory, legs forced apart, lifted high. My hands hung down, unconsciously pinching my trembling thighs, squeezing hard. A dull, throbbing pain spread, and I managed a bitter smile. Forcing myself to maintain a semblance of composure, I spoke with feigned nonchalance. Yes. The men Robert hired were too pathetic, with no tricks to satisfy me. Next time, I recommend you find some professional male models, stronger ones. If necessary, just pump them full of supplements. He slammed his fist onto the desk, shattering an antique vase worth hundreds of millions. Splintered fragments stained with bright red blood scattered everywhere. This time, I was determined to make him sign the document, devoid of the previous cautiousness and apology that marked my encounters with him. An adult woman removing herself from the family records requires a certain financial independence and consent from family members. Robert, sign this document, and I won't be padding your family records as your sister anymore. It's for the best. The pen scratched furiously, Li Jiahe written in strong, forceful strokes. Every stroke and line carried the triumphant satisfaction of cutting ties with me. Good. Having a dirty sister who's been violated and disgraced would only ruin our family's reputation. Sophia was so close to you before, and you still managed to harm her into a vegetative state. Li Qianma, do you have any heart at all? I calmly gathered each document. In 3 days, the announcement I promised will be released. Mr. Li, just wait and see. I found my second brother, David Evans, at the Phoenix Club, Oakwood City's most luxurious club. He was enthusiastically kissing a new model he was promoting. Everyone stopped drinking, bringing up the scandalous videos that had gone viral online recently, their excitement palpable. Even if you're the second young master's full sibling, I think a woman who seems quiet on the surface but is wild underneath is even more exciting. Second young master, you wouldn't mind if I took your sister for a couple of days of in-depth discussion, would you? David Evans lit a cigarette, puffing smoke, his shrewd eyes behind his gold-rimmed glasses observing me for a long time. Same rules. Highest bidder gets her. I was shoved into the center of the private room, countless vulgar comments drowning me like a crushing mountain. I watched David Evans's hand wander towards the model's chest, playfully toying with her. His lips curved into a smile. Anyway, my sister is already a used shoe, played out by men. Any small tip you guys throw in will be enough for me to collect rent. Whatever the bid is today, she's yours. He kissed the model next to him, staring directly into my eyes as he spoke. Qianma, don't blame me for being biased. You've always been spoiled, arrogant, selfish, and far less warm and thoughtful than Jean Sheng. Mentioning Jessica Adams brought a warm, comfortable smile to David's lips. Jessica Adams worked at the Phoenix Club for a few years because she needed money for Mrs. Adams's medical expenses. Now she's returned to the family, getting into a marriage alliance with the Wallace family of Sterling City as the Evans family's daughter. I can't let her have any scandalous past, so I had to put your face on her videos. He paused for a moment and thought. All I need is for you to be caught red-handed by the media, and all the rumors Abu T. Jessica Adams will fall apart. I looked at his handsome, compelling profile. It was stark and ruthless in the shifting light. Second brother, we are full siblings, born of the same mother. Are you really going to ruin my reputation for a mistress's illegitimate daughter, making it impossible for me to ever show my face in public again? David's cold face grew even darker. Full siblings? Having a sister like you is worse than having none. Before Jessica Adams returned to the Evans family, her mother was the mistress my father secretly kept in an apartment below ours. That calculating mistress claimed her husband had died, causing my mother's sympathy to overflow. She often told us 3 siblings to take care of the pitiful Shinjin Shing. It wasn't until 3 years ago, when I was cornered and abused by a group of thugs at the alley entrance. Violent fists rained down on my back, and it was my second brother who stepped forward to shield me. But there were too many thugs that day. David held them off and told me to run to the police station. However, my appendicitis flared up, and I collapsed in pain on the road, 500 meters from the station. Before losing consciousness, I asked my then good friend, Shinjin Shing, to continue to the police. When I woke up after appendicitis surgery, I learned that David's leg had been broken by the thugs, injuring his bones and making it impossible for him to continue his dream of being a gymnast. Shinjin Shing stayed by David's hospital bed, crying rivers of tears. When Robert and Richard Evans learned of this, their dislike and disgust for me intensified. Consequently, Richard Evans had Shinjin Shing change her surname back to his, becoming Li Jin Sheng. The mistress from outside moved into the family home, literally driving my mother to her death from a heart attack. From then on, David's favorite phrases were, having a full sibling like you is useless. At critical moments, you're not nearly as thoughtful as Jean Sheng, who just came into our lives. Mom died of a sudden heart attack because she was taking care of you. You're a curse. The rising and falling bids from the crowd were like demons, slowly tearing away my self-esteem. Looking at David Evans's firm, resolute face, full of disgust, I suddenly felt a sense of release from all the hardship. Second brother, getting caught by reporters for scandalous gossip is pointless. If you sign these documents, I'll hold a press conference, admit everything voluntarily, and announce my permanent withdrawal from the entertainment industry. At that time, I will also delete the records of the works you stole from me. I said coolly, As long as I show my work records to the media, the accusation of plagiarism against Li Jinxing will never be cleared, no matter what. David gritted his teeth, his gaze sweeping over the family records document. You want to remove yourself from the family records and move out? Although I don't know what tricks you're up to, I'm telling you, besides that old, dilapidated place you own, I won't let you take a single cent of the Evans family's fortune. After confirming that David had signed everything, I said softly, second brother, I saw Shin Jinxing walk towards the police station with my own eyes back then. I don't know why the police arrived so late. This was my last time explaining this to David. Even though he had heard it countless times, I still needed to clear my name one last time. Why was it such a coincidence back then that just after your bones were broken, the rumor spread in school that Shin Jinxing had slept with the leader of those thugs? David sneered, you're still lying, Li Qianma. That thug admitted long ago that you were his girlfriend. You hired him to cripple me, didn't you, just to get a bigger share of the family fortune? I'll make sure you don't get a single thread or needle of the Evans family's wealth, even I'll you die. Robert, father, and I will treat Jean Xing as the most cherished little princess in our family, protecting and spoiling her. As for you, working as a hostess at the Phoenix Club suits you better. Ruthlessness filled David's brows and eyes. I knew that no matter what I said, he would think I was just making excuses. I wasn't surprised at all that David could say such cruel words. A drunk man suddenly dumped red wine over my head. Through my thin white shirt, the wine's crimson color highlighted the curves of my body, drawing lewd cheers. David merely said, cheap. This encouraged the others to eagerly force strong red wine down my throat. My entire throat burned. Beneath my soaked shirt, every inch of my skin felt as though it had been imagined 1,000 times over. David signed slowly, each stroke deliberately drawn. After suppressing the intense nausea, he watched with satisfaction as his drinking buddies cruelly humiliated me. I gathered the documents, giving him one last look. Second brother, once I've completed all the procedures, I will hold a press conference and give you an explanation. Humph, I'll have someone follow you. You won't get away. A sinister voice, like that of a demon, came from behind me. After leaving the Phoenix Club, I messaged Ethan Evans to update him on my progress. Ethan Evans's gentle voice reassured me considerably. He said, Qianma, don't worry. I'll find you the most advanced artificial corneas from abroad. After you give me your corneas, you won't end up blind like me. I will also fulfill my promise and marry you with full honors as my wife. Perhaps it had been too long since anyone had shown me even faint concern. Although he hadn't said anything particularly warm, I somehow felt a little wronged. Before the tears could fall, I saw my father Richard Evans's trusted bodyguard wave. I was struck unconscious with a blunt object and taken away. In the dimly lit underground operating room, my father was chatting with a well-known director from the industry. Don't worry, sir. Even though this disloyal daughter of mine was just disgraced a few days ago, her corneas are still good. As long as you let Jean Xing star as the lead actress in your movie, I guarantee your daughter will regain her sight. I bit down hard on my lip, the thick taste of blood filling my mouth. Dad, I'm your full daughter too. Why do you keep sacrificing me again and again for Jessica Adams's success? An ice-cold needle pierced my arm. The anesthetic took effect, slowly invading my consciousness. No one expected me to suddenly fight back, sitting up from the operating table and shouting fiercely. My father slightly turned his head, his eyes full of disgust. You're not my child at all. Your mother, that bitch, had you with some wild man behind my back. It was just to protect her status as Mrs. Evans, plotting to get a bigger share of my property. I've raised you for so many years, it's time for you to repay me completely. Memories flashed before my eyes. No wonder my father always preferred taking my two brothers and Jessica Adams out when we were kids. No wonder no matter how hard I tried to get good grades to show him, he would always just say flatly, got it. The medical staff in the underground room roughly pinned me back onto the operating table. Not far away, my father was casually flipping through my briefcase with a meaningful look. So stupid. Did you think moving out of the family records would sever our ties? That bitch, your mother, died without value, but you're full of treasures. Using your eyes to build Jessica Adams's career is your honor. My hands went slack, all strength for resistance gone. The signed documents I had painstakingly collected over the past 2 days were set ablaze by my father. Just as I felt utterly despairing, the underground room's hidden door burst open from an external force. Ethan Evans's towel figure strode in, bathed in moonlight, as if surrounded by countless stars. Stop. Who dares touch my fiancé? I was held in Ethan Evans's arms. The scent of pine wood on him felt familiar. Meeting his alluring, expressive eyes, I found myself swallowing unconsciously. Before, when I had met him at the Evans family estate, it was through a black curtain. In the dim room, only his oppressive presence remained. My only thought was to make a deal with him. I hadn't bothered to investigate what the rumored rival, who had been fighting my brother's tooth and nail, actually looked like. Ethan Evans's eyes were bright and clear, his gaze sharp as an eagle or tiger, not at all like a blind man. He pulled me forcefully into his embrace. Don't look. I'm afraid the scene will be too bloody and scare you. The anesthetic completely knocked me out, and I fell into a deep sleep in his arms. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my father being forced by bodyguards to sign and initial documents. When I woke up again, Ethan Evans was working quietly by my side. He was wearing a bathrobe, his chest partially visible. Your call suddenly cut off. I was very worried about you, so I came to check on you. I stammered, blushing and not daring to look at him. Your eyes? He answered with complete candor. Oh, I used to be blind, but I got artificial corneas later. I looked at him confusedly. His beautiful eyes darted around, like a little fox. He pulled me into his arms. If I hadn't said that, how would you have agreed to marry me? Chianma, you were never just a fleeting fancy to me, but a precious treasure I rediscovered after a long time. My whole body trembled, and I no longer dared to look at this person shining before me. He knew all about my broken past. Mr. Evans wants a wife from a well-matched family. Oakwood City, Sterling City, and Coastal City have hundreds, thousands of wealthy daughters willing to meet you. Why go to all this trouble for me? He tapped my nose. Leaning closer, he felt my strong resistance but merely stroked my hair reassuringly. Don't be afraid, Chianma. I'll wait until you're ready to accept me. Noticing how violently I was trembling in his arms, he slowly released his warm embrace. I lowered my head and said dully, we agreed that I would give you my corneas as my contribution to our arrangement, and you would help me against the Evans family. Now your eyes are fine, and I have nothing left to trade with you. I buried my head under the covers, preparing to be kicked out of his house. I was. Those videos online were AI generated, but the high-definition ones from the warehouse, those are all real. As I spoke of the injustice, I couldn't hold back the flooding tears any longer. Ethan Evans held me in his arms, gently coaxing, Shoo, these things that make you unhappy will end eventually. Chianma, I just said we are old acquaintances reunited. The little yellow dog you gave me has passed away, but he sired the buddy we have now. You saw me during my most difficult childhood. Now, it's my turn to protect you from your present troubles. I was still confused, my gaze falling on the fluffy buddy at my feet. Yellow dog? Ethan Evans patiently prompted me. There was a little liar who picked up a stray dog and gave it to me, tricking me into thinking it was a guide dog. My gaze towards Ethan Evans changed. I remembered. In my memory, there was only one chubby boy who was blind. He was the child of my mother's best friend, and the adults always called him Little E, Little E. When I was little, I only cared about Little E's delicious snacks and didn't remember his full name. He had a strange illness since childhood and a very withdrawn and peculiar personality. At that time, our family business wasn't very large yet. My father always lost money in the early stages of his venture. My mother often had to pawn her wedding jewelry to make ends meet. I envied Little E's imported snacks, premium treats, and luxury fruits, but I was too embarrassed to ask him directly. So I thick-skinnedly went to tell him stories every day. Then I would conveniently swipe his bags of afternoon snacks. Even though Little E didn't speak to me for 10 days at a time, his mother always welcomed me to play with him. She said that whenever I was there, Little E would finally deign to take his medicine willingly. Later, my mother's best friend's family took Little E abroad for treatment and never returned. I looked up, tears welling in my eyes, and looked him over again and again. Ethan Evans's face, sculpted as if by a knife, looked incredibly handsome. There wasn't a trace of the little chubby boy I remembered. As if sensing what I was thinking, he propped his head on one hand and pushed a plate of exquisite snacks towards me. Chianma, eat something. Food cures all worries. Once you're happy, I'll go with you to take medicine, then see a therapist, and then help you deal with your despicable family. I sobbed, reaching out with a trembling hand to touch the beautifully arranged delicacies before me. Decades ago, time's arrow suddenly shot a pure and innocent shaft at me, hitting me squarely in the heart. The greedy little girl wasn't afraid of the little chubby boy's cold stares. She chased after him, thick-skinnedly telling him stories. She even gave him a stray yellow dog she had picked up, claiming it was a magical guide dog, forcefully placing it in his arms, Take the little yellow dog I'm giving you, and you have to take your medicine and eat your fruit on time, okay? As they say, food cures all worries. I cried into his embrace. Little E, you just know how to bully me. Ethan Evans held me tightly. Chanma, I'm sorry. I came back too late. The Evans family was in chaos. Robert and David hadn't received the apology press conference I promised. They huddled together, furious. OV. Night, my father was severely beaten again. His conversation with Director Young in the underground operating room was fully exposed. The renowned director's family was investigated by the police for suspected human organ trafficking. Jessica Adams quickly issued a statement claiming she had never met Director Young and had no business with him, but her statement had no weight. A well-known industry paparazzi reporter personally stepped in to prove that the true owner of the scandalous photos online, which had been manipulated with AI, was Jessica Adams herself. Rows of powerful original video records were released. The image of Oakwood City's supposed pure socialite instantly crumbled. Among the 3 witness accounts circulating online, there were 2 testimonies from the Phoenix Club patrons who had hired her, and also the genuine accusation from a cleaning lady. Although the 2 girls looked somewhat alike, the one who worked at the Phoenix Club was definitely not Lee Chanma. I'm not so old and senile that I can't tell people apart. Just because I accidentally opened the wrong door while cleaning the room and interrupted Li Jinxing and her client, she complained to the manager and demanded I pay her 100,000 yuan. She's truly desperate for money. More and more dirt on Jessica Adams was dug up. The Evans Corporation's reputation plummeted. David Evans racked his brain trying to push me out to hold a new press conference to confess everything, but he searched every hotel and motel in Oakwood City, spent 2 days checking my rental records, only to come up empty-handed. Robert Evans even gave an interview to an online blogger, facing the camera directly. Chanma has been jealous since she was a child, unable to stand seeing others do better than her. This time, the marriage alliance between the Evans family and the Wallace family of Sterling City didn't go to her, and she's been causing trouble for us for days. He said shamelessly into tea. The Wallace family is a respectable family, and Michael Wallace is a man of excellent character. Our family doesn't want to make enemies with them by sending them a daughter with a questionable private life, do we? Robert's words were the final judgment. He always led a private life, maintaining a clean image, without any scandals or romantic entanglements. His words felt like the most authoritative testimony in the world. He left in a hurry after receiving a call from his assistant, as if someone important was missing and he was rushing to find them. Countless netizens, unaware of the truth, began doxing and cyberbullying me. As for my father, Richard Evans, he put on a grieved and distraught face in front of the media, stating, "Family matters are complicated. This disloyal daughter has caused trouble for everyone." His remained tight-lipped further confirmed for the marketing accounts that I was a curse to the Evans family. My father and 2 brothers had racked their brains trying to teach me to be pure and virtuous. Seeing me become someone universally condemned, they were supposedly filled with sorrow. To quell the negative public opinion online, my father decided to speed up the marriage alliance between the Evans family and the Wallace family. Jessica Adams immediately posted engagement photos with Michael Wallace, the heir of Sterling City, on social media. I scrolled through the online comments, filled with hatred that wished me dead, and wept several times. Ethan Evans took the tablet away, comforting me sincerely, "Don't be afraid, Chanma. Ethan will help you clear your name of all this humiliation. The Evans family won't be smug for long." I believed Ethan Evans wouldn't lie to me. With my current state of being bruised and battered, there was nothing left for anyone to calculate or scheme against me. The rumors online flew for a week. Ethan Evans, busy beyond belief, took me for a therapy session. On the way back, he brought me to the New Moon Hotel. Half of Oakwood City was decorated today, and guests were flowing into the hotel entrance. Ethan Evans held my hand firmly, his gaze sincere. "Don't be afraid, Chanma. Watch how Ethan gets revenge for you in a moment." I put away the anxiety in my heart and nodded seriously at him. He said he wanted to help me get revenge and had been busy doing so for a long time. He had walked 99 steps for me, now I had to be brave and try to take the last step myself. The ballroom was filled with prominent figures from Oakwood City and Sterling City. Guests clinking glasses wisely avoided sensitive topics making headlines. But seeing me walk in behind Ethan Evans, whispers broke out. Robert Evans's face darkened. "Lee Chanma, you have the nerve to come back? You said you'd publicly admit your part in Sophia's injury if I signed the document. Now Sophia is gone too. What game are you playing?" David Evans added with disgust, "Robert, can you expect a word of truth from this heartless thing? I say we should keep pushing the evidence of her messing around with men onto the hot search. Let all the men in Oakwood City know that she's the type who can't live without a man. Ethan Evans strode up to my father, Richard Evans, and greeted him politely. Mr. Evans, sir, although Chanma and I are uninvited guests today, you wouldn't refuse your own daughter attending the engagement party of that illegitimate daughter outside, would you? David Evans retorted angrily. Ethan Evans, what do you mean? You've stolen quite a few project orders from me recently. Now you dare to walk in front of me like this? Ethan Evans didn't waste words on him. Just as he was about to speak, I stopped him. He had told me his plan for today on the way here, but I wanted to do the rest myself. I took a deep breath, looking deeply at the father I had respected for years, and the brothers I had thought were close to me. I came back today for 2 reasons. First, to congratulate the Evans family's illegitimate daughter on her engagement to the Wallace family of Sterling City. Second, to take this opportunity to answer questions in front of everyone and resolve the recent series of online controversies and scandals. Jessica Adams put on a facade of innocent indignation. I can't believe Sister Chanma is still willing to accept me as her sister. I avoided her affected attempt at closeness. Meeting Robert Evans's predatory eyes, I said firmly, I said I would give Sophia an explanation in public. Ethan Evans's bodyguards pushed Sophia forward in a wheelchair. Robert Evans's pupils constricted, his steps faltering. Sophia, I finally waited for you to wake up. I've been looking for you like crazy recently. Why did you suddenly leave the sanatorium? Jessica Adams, who had been arrogant as a peacock just moments before, suddenly wilted like a frosted eggplant, her face filled with shock. I caught a glimpse of her panic out of the corner of my eye. Sophia, what exactly happened the night you were injured 5 years ago? Can you tell my brother? Sophia looked around, her voice hoarse. Jaha, 5 years ago, I saw Jessica Adams and her mother at the hospital when they were doing a paternity test with your family. They secretly bribed the head nurse to swap their blood samples with Chanma's. That night, I originally wanted to tell you and Chanma about this, but I was attacked by the thugs she hired. Sophia choked up as she spoke of the painful details, suppressing a sob in her throat as she recounted being pushed from the 4th floor by Shin Jinxing that night. Jessica Adams's legs trembled, and she bit her lip, repeatedly denying it. Robert Evans questioned her in disbelief. How is that possible? The surveillance footage from that night shows that it was clearly Li Chanma who brought a strange man home to harm you. Sophia was surprised that Robert's first reaction was to defend Jessica Adams. She sat in her wheelchair and slowly looked up, giving a bitter laugh. I could have woken up 2 years earlier, but Jessica Adams was afraid I would wake up and expose her. She didn't want me to die easily either, so she secretly drugged me every month. She forced me into a coma. If Chanma hadn't secretly come to give me full body massages and talk to me about her grievances, I wouldn't have been able to hold on. Robert Evans came to his senses as if waking from a dream, taking 2 steps back, murmuring in shock, how could this be? The ballroom's large screen suddenly played an old, noisy recording. Chen Yue Yao, don't blame me for being heartless. It's your fault for being Li Chanma's future sister-in-law. You're so close to her, you'll definitely make Li Jiahe protect her. Even if I'm not the old man's flesh and blood, I've called him dad for so many years. I must become the Evans family's daughter. Since you've discovered our mother and daughter's secret, don't blame me for being ruthless. Only dead people keep secrets. I need you to die in a way that's exceptionally valuable. After a rustle of excited male voices ended, Jessica Adams's voice was remarkably firm. Quickly clean up the scene and fake it so it looks like I was also violated. Everyone in the room was silent. The first to react was my father, Richard Evans. How could there be a mistake? Jean Xing is so well-behaved and sensible. How could she not be my full daughter? I said in a low voice, Dad, whether or not it isn't just something you say. We can do a DNA test again. At this moment, a wealthy lady dressed elegantly emerged from the crowd. The woman my father kept outside cried tearfully, Old Lee, you know me. I became your secretary right after I graduated from college, following you around the country doing business. I endured so many years of societal scorn for you. Jean Xing pretended to be from a single-parent family. For so many years. How could she possibly do something like murder and framing? Her gentle tone shifted. It must be Chanma's jealousy at work. Enough. I raised my hand and slapped the woman directly across the face. A shadow swept across my cheek even faster. David Evans's angry slap was blocked by Ethan Evans. With witnesses and evidence laid bare, any excuse from Jessica Adams and her mother seemed flimsy. Ethan Evans forcefully pushed David Evans's hand away. With a personality as stupid as yours, anyone can create a small conflict and trick you. It serves you right that your dear sister broke your bones and ruined your dream of being a gymnast. David Evans was clearly choked up, unable to breathe properly, his face bright red. Ethan Evans twisted his arm behind his back and pressed his face towards the LED screen, forcing him to look at the surveillance footage. 3 years ago, when he was surrounded by thugs, I was doubled over in pain from appendicitis, but I still slowly crawled towards the police station step by step. Jessica Adams suddenly ran up to me, comforted me for a bit, and then walked towards the police station. After I fainted, she turned around, waited alone for a long time nearby, and then pretended to have just arrived. All of David's defenses shattered at that moment. He turned back in disbelief, his eyes wide with shock. So you were the one who harmed me, you bitch? You were trying to sow discord between us siblings? His lips trembling, he slowly turned to me. Chanma? You were framed? Then did I become the executioner who ruined your reputation? The videos and photos of you being violated, combined, have over 1 million views? Thousands and thousands of people have seen my sister's twisted state, treated like a toy by dirty men? He collapsed onto the ground, like a snowman about to melt, losing its icy support. Trembling hands, bloodshot eyes, he blurted out the murmured question, that man, that bastard, was Robert's best friend. He had wanted Chanma for a long time. Robert hired the man, I edited and swapped the videos. The last sentence hit Robert Evans like a thunderclap. He hadn't even fully processed the news that Sophia had woken up when David's question startled him. They both looked at me, defeated and disheartened. Countless emotions of regret and remorse filled their eyes, turning only into helpless and worried gazes. Robert finally spoke. Chen, sister, are you all right? Late apologies are always useless. Ice after snow, a blanket in scorching heat, they are merely idle decorations. My father's suspicious and angry gaze was fixed on me. This is what you meant by coming to congratulate us? I see you're clearly here to cause trouble for our family, you curse. Looking at his glossy, hypocritical face, a deep sense of worthlessness welled up inside me. Dad, do you really not know about this? Or are you just deceiving yourself, thinking that as long as you believe I'm not your daughter, you have an excuse to mess around outside, taking the money you earned building the business with mom to support a mistress? I laughed mockingly. Right. A father who can casually give away his full daughter's corneas couldn't possibly be a good person. I've already removed myself from the Evans family records. From now on, we're no longer family on the same records. I don't acknowledge you. I tugged on Ethan Evans's sleeve, leaning into his solid arm. I felt incredibly safe. The Wallace elders, who had witnessed the entire spectacle, expressed their strong dissatisfaction and publicly announced the cancellation of the engagement. The farce dispersed amidst the onlookers' sighs. Robert Evans was heartbroken. When Sophia suggested breaking up with him, he shook his head like a madman, refusing. Sophia avoided his fervent pursuit and replied gently, Jiaha, I'm not holding a grudge against you because Jessica Adams framed me. It's because in the past 5 years, you had many opportunities to find out the truth. But you never bothered to wonder why? You blindly listened to Jessica Adams's one-sided story and condemned your full sibling. You even used such cruel methods to harm an innocent person. With such a vicious and sinister heart, I dare not spend the rest of my life with you. After Sophia finished speaking, she asked the bodyguard to quickly push her away. She had just recovered from a serious illness and could only manage to gather her strength to say these words while in a wheelchair. I understood the depth of her disappointment. During the 5 years Sophia was in a vegetative state, Robert Evans prohibited me from visiting and never treated me kindly. I learned massage to help care for patients but was turned away by him. I climbed the steep trail up Blackwood Mountain through wind and snow. The blessed token I prayed and meditated for was thrown into the trash can by him. No matter what I did, it was wrong in his eyes, always with some ulterior motive. I looked at Robert Evans in silence, then stated my final decision. Mr. Li Jiahe will soon receive notification of a police investigation. I will definitely pursue legal action regarding your hiring someone to violate me. As for Mr. Li Jinghe, I have already reported your entertainment company for tax evasion to the tax authorities, as well as the scandalous dealings between your male and female artists. Just wait for the investigation and audit. I took one last look at my father, Richard Evans, whose figure was slightly stooped, but whose eyes were still filled with resentment. Compared to the injustice I, his full daughter, had experienced, he cared more about the Evans family's ruined reputation and future. Whether they admitted their mistakes no longer mattered to me. I just wanted to heal my physical and emotional wounds as quickly as possible. To make myself whole and clean again, marry Ethan Evans. My heart was small, holding only the clear, warm gaze of one person. A year later, the day before I married Ethan Evans, he threw me a lavish bachelorette party in Hillside City. I said it was wasteful, but my heart felt warm. Sophia had fully recovered and attended, acting as my bride's family. Ethan Evans pressed forward step by step in the business world, devouring all of the Evans family's businesses in Oakwood City with decisive action. He mysteriously pulled me over and opened a gift box. A shimmering diamond and pearl brooch, an egg-sized emerald pendant, and mother's favorite locket/necklace, all the jewelry my mother had pawned years ago were there before me. Ethan Evans wiped away my tears, his eyes full of affection. "Silly Chanma, these are all my wedding gift to you. Do you like them?" I mumbled hoarsely. Why would the groom prepare the bride's wedding gift himself? "You're losing money." He laughed heartily. "I'm gaining a lot. A greedy wife this big isn't easy to find." Well, the night before the wedding, we were quite busy. So much so that the next day, when the makeup artist came to do my makeup, thick foundation couldn't cover the hickeys on my neck. I inwardly scolded Ethan Evans for being such a glutton. Outside the makeup room, my two brothers were waiting, their eyes red. I didn't want to deal with their apologies, but their pitiful expressions honestly made me lose my appetite. I had my bodyguard let them in. Robert Evans said urgently, "Chanma, I've crippled the man who hurt you. Brother promises, he'll be a eunuch and useless man from now on. Ethan Evans is marrying you just to go against our family. It's to take over our resources more smoothly. Don't marry him." I smiled coldly, Mr. Lee Jiaha, saying this only proves that the men of the Evans family have no brains and can't even protect their family business. Don't try to sow discord between me and my husband in front of me. Row. Bert's face looked unpleasant. He rummaged through his pockets, holding 3 blessed tokens in his hand. He was walking with a slight limp. He spoke with a proud and confident tone. "These are the blessed tokens Father and we prayed for after climbing the steep trail up Blackwood Mountain together. From now on, no one will ever be able to bully you again. Okay?" Mimicking his past actions, I casually took the 3 blessed tokens and tossed them into the trash can. "Young man, don't be superstitious." Robert's frozen smile looked a little tragic, but that was not something I needed to concern myself with. "David Evans pulled out a contract, showing it off like a treasure. I sold the songs you wrote under your stage name to a top record company. Within a month, those beautiful songs will be released and fans will be able to listen to them. Chanma, brother did a lot of wrong things before, but I've changed now." As for Jessica Adams, second brother made her the best actress in an action series and the most popular hostess at the Phoenix Club in Oakwood City. Brother guarantees that as long as I'm around, she won't have a peaceful life. He blushed again. "Our dad is sick lately, thinking about you all the time. You should come home and visit often." Listening to these words, my heart was calm, and my face showed none of the happiness or smugness they expected. I considered for a moment and replied solemnly, "Mr. Lee Jinghe should go enjoy himself with his friends at the Phoenix Club. I have no interest in the matters of the Evans family in Oakwood City anymore. The old me would have longed to grovel at your feet and beg for scraps. But now, I no longer have any expectations of you." I held out my hand. A matching bracelet was tied around my slender wrist beneath the cuff of my red sleeve. This was a matching bracelet Ethan Evans had personally woven. "I no longer need your so-called repentance. All our grievances are no longer suitable for private resolution. Now, I only recognize the court's judgment." My two brothers' footsteps became heavy as they left. I saw my father's slightly bent shadow in the corner. Upon confirming my determination to face them in court, his shadow curved. After the wedding banquet, I felt a little heavy-hearted. Ethan Evans asked me, "I can make their lives even more miserable." I tugged on his sleeve and hugged him tightly. "Ethan, after the court judgment comes out, please don't go after them anymore. We need to live our own lives too. I don't want to be unhappy after we get married because of them." He looked thoughtful, his gaze on me suddenly warming. I sniffled, pushing him away lazily. "No. We have relatives to visit tomorrow. I don't want to be tired out anymore." He held me tightly in his arms, his trembling breath on the back of my neck. "Wife, but today is our first day of marriage." I had nowhere to retreat and was exhausted by him. Waking up in the middle of the night from my dream, I suddenly missed the little chubby boy who never said a word and only rolled his eyes. What was going on?